Welcome! In this video you will learn everything that you need to know about intervals. First, what is an interval? An interval is the distance between any two notes. For example, this is an interval, this is an interval, this is an interval, and this is an interval. Now, second question is, how do we measure the distance between the notes? We measure the distance between the notes by counting the lines and the spaces on the staff separating the two notes from each other, including the line or space that the first note is on. Let's look at the first example. We have in the treble clef a G and a C, and now we have to count the lines and spaces between them. So first is G, this is 1, second line, then we have the space A, B and C. So this is a fourth because 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's look at the second example. We have the first note is an E on the first line, and then we have a D on the fourth line. So now we count also this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now let's look at another example, this time in the bass clef. The first note is a D, and then we have an E. So this is a second, because 1, 2. And let's do another example. First note, the lower one is an A, and then we count B, C, D, E. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's look at the last example. The first note is a G, and then we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From G to G, so 8 notes. You would think that this is an 8, but this interval has a special name. This is called an octave. So every time that you have 8 notes separating from each other, then you call this an octave. So this is an octave, this is an octave, and this is an octave. Now we can learn the names of the intervals. Let's take an example from G to G. This is called the smallest interval. This, you might think that this is called the first, but this is actually called a unison. Then we have second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and an octave. So always when we have 8 notes, this is called an octave, and then we go on 9th, 10, 11, and so on. So this is for the distance of the intervals. Now we can add the type of the interval. For the type of an interval, we use words like major, minor, perfect, augmented, and diminished. Let's look at the major scale for example. Let's take the C major scale. So from C to C. From C to C is a unison. Then from C to D is a major second. A minor second would be half step smaller. And then we have C to E is a major third. C to F is a perfect fourth. C to G is a perfect fifth. C to A is a major sixth. C to B is a major seventh, and C to C is a perfect octave. minor intervals are a half step smaller than major intervals, and diminished intervals are even a half step smaller than minor intervals, and an augmented interval is a half step bigger than a major interval. So let's look at an example. C to E is a major third, C to E sharp would be an augmented third, C to E flat would be a minor third, and C sharp to E flat would be a diminished third. Perfect intervals have no major or minor versions. They can just become diminished or augmented. And before we look at the final example, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like this tutorial. And now let's go back to the example. The final example is F to A. This is 1, 2, 3, a major third, because a minor third would be half step lower, smaller. Now, next example, D sharp to G. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we have an extra half step, so this is an augmented fifth. Remember, perfect intervals don't have major or minor, so this would be a perfect fifth, but we have a sharp sign, so this is an augmented fifth. The next example is from B to D. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a major sixth. And let's also look at an example in the bass clef. From D to F, this is 1, 2, 3. This is a minor third. Major would be half step bigger. The next example, from A to G sharp. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a half step. So this is major 7th. This would be minor 7. And the last example, from F to B. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is an augmented fourth. This would be a perfect fourth. So I would recommend to learn the distance first and then the type. And that's it for this video. Again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.